Hello and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update for everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. So today is October 27th and we have a jam-packed full of episode ahead for you. So let's get started. It might be a long one. So last night or this morning Eastern time was the rewards period for Rocket Pool just started. So the new ones just started. That means that you can claim your rewards for the previous period, which is always a happy day in the Rocket Pool community because we all get paid, so everyone's really happy about it. So here Waldorf was like letting off party celebrations. At 1:35 is when the snapshot is taken. So what happened? So at 1:35, since Redstone happened, we need the ODAO to start making the claim trees and providing all the information about who can claim what. So it's okay, now we wait for the ODAO to make some trees before anyone can claim. So that process normally takes about 2 hours, or maybe between an hour and 2 hours. So everyone was kind of like just sitting around and waiting, and Joe was saying it's about 2 hours last time, and people were just kind of waiting, and there was Butter was in here, Beacon Chain are the ODAO members, and other ODAO teams like just doing their own thing at that time. And then it turned out that there was an issue and there was an error, and then Butter says, "Oh my god, I got the error, I'm not gonna lie," and Joe says, "Womp, 2 more hours." So basically what happened is some of the ODAO members were getting errors when trying to generate the tree, and Joe says, "Then again, my daily tree generator is Nethermind, and I think most people run geth, and it seems like the geth client was having some issues with the tree generation, so people were waiting for quite a while, and then Joe said, at 5 a.m, so this is a good 2 hours later than when we should have had our rewards. Joe was saying, all right, this is getting silly. The team's going to reach out to the remaining ODAO members for a health check. I need to go to bed." And then, Butter, your shift, you take over. So, and again, for a while, there was still some issues. And at 7:38 a.m., which is 6 hours later, pretty much exactly, Langus said, "Hey everyone, you may be wondering when rewards. Surely the ODAO generated the reward tree by now. Rest assured, the trees are being generated and RPL rewards are winging their way to you. But why do I not have them yet?" So here begins the story. So basically what's happened is there's an intermittent bug for the ODAO for version 1.6.5, and the team is aware of that and it's being fixed for version 1.7. However, version 1.7 was delayed because of the fee issue that we've talked about on Rocket Fuel before. So here Langus said, we were very close to the rewards period, so decided to delay until after the rewards period, had plenty of time to distribute the new release across the ODAO. There wasn't a huge issue because even if we hit the bug, we had enough ODAO members with archive nodes to reach consensus. So today, it turns out we only had just enough archive nodes to reach consensus, and they were taking a while to generate the tree. It says we have one last ODAO node to report the tree, then the rewards will be available. We're working with ODAO members to get another one over the line. Please bear with us going forward. Version 1.7, which should be released next week, will fix the issue. Many thanks. And then an hour and a half later, pretty much an hour and 20 minutes later, Lang said, "Hey everyone, rewards trees have now been generated and published. Rewards are now available. Rocket Pool," and then the Rocket Pool emoji, Rocket Moon emoji. So that was a bit of drama overnight. People just like the whole, pitchforks, the ODAO were coming out again. It's like, what's the point of the ODAO if they can't even do this? This one's their few duties, like blah, blah, blah. Like they need to get all this fixed. And I understand the frustration and the issues that people had. But thankfully it got fixed without much of an issue. I guess that's a couple of rewards periods since Redstone that we've had some issues. And hopefully we won't have any more going forward. So next, we come to all of our favorite topic for the last few days, is the governance stuff. So we talked about it a lot yesterday. We talked about it a lot the day before. So let's talk about it a lot again today. That's what everyone wants to hear, right? So yesterday there was a lot of discussion going back and forth about what we should be voting for, what kind of rocket pool token lockup we want as a maximum collateral. And there were a couple of camps kind of emerging. There was the one that said, there should be the 50% of node operator ETH. There was another one that was saying it should be 150% node operator ETH. Another one that was saying it should be 150% of protocol ETH. I was kind of saying a little bit about how each mini pool should have a max collateral of 40 ETH, because that's what we have right now. Right now the maximum collateral is 16 ETH plus 24 ETH worth of RPL for the 16 ETH mini pools. So I was like, let's maintain that. Let's keep the collateral the same for every mini pool that we have. So around 9:45 Eastern time yesterday, Langers did he said so, and then he was typing for quite a while, and everyone was kind of sweating because he was typing for over 10 minutes. And Langer says, I agree with Kane that this needs to be addressed in Atlas. There appears to be 3 choices ahead of us. Use node operator collateral as the basis for maximum RPL stake, which retains the existing weighting of RPL rewards and governance distribution. Use protocol collateral as the basis for max RPL stake, but rebalance the RPL rewards and governance toward distribution to retain the existing weighting. Remove LEBs from the upgrade. So, we need to make sure that the community has a good idea of what's going on. If we can't agree, if there's issues, no one wants a contentious fork, no one wants any contentious issues in the community, right? We don't want it to be a bad blood vote. We'd rather keep the cohesion in the community, so we'd rather just remove LEBs from now until things can be figured out before going forward. And so this kind of leads to a whole conversation, part 2 here about use protocol collateral as the basis for max RPL ETH, but rebalance the RPL rewards and governance distribution to retain the existing weighting. So that was kind of like a protocol ETH thing, but kind of with other ideas thrown in there as well. So people were kind of worried. People weren't exactly sure what was going on. And then Maso was like, that's not a vote. If options are pick A or B, but we strongly recommend A. And Kane was just like, the team are allowed to have their own opinions. So this kind of discussion went on for quite a while. Let me just see what the next one I have loaded up. So so this conversation went on for a couple of hours with the information, and then Langers comes in just after midnight, 2-3 hours later, and he says, I think a flat 24 ETH is a good compromise. What we are trying to avoid is the runaway effect on rewards and governance. So I was, member team flat vote or 150% of pDAO collateral. So when Langer said this, I think a flat 24 ETH is a good compromise. I think for me that really made a lot of sense, and I think it kind of is a compromise point between the two positions. I know that people on both sides, one side, who are kind of upset about this. They don't want this. They think that it should be less. They think that the RPL is kind of only should be used as a minimum, and there should be that should be it. But I think even Maso was saying here, I support this for the sake of avoiding contention and division within the community and moving the conversation forward. I don't love it, but that is the nature of negotiation. And Valdov says, if we have more than 3 choices, we'll need to select from a single choice and approval. And then everyone was started to talk about it, and basically a few hours later, Ken popped in to governance, a good 3 hours later, and he says, my thoughts. And Ken is a superhero in the rocket pool community. He's a rocket scientist. He's really, really great at doing research and trying to figure out how things fit together and how things should be. So he's the one who came up with ideas of what the smoothing pool should look like, and helped with lots of analysis in the past as well. Ken's wonderful, a really, really great guy. And so he says, my thoughts after contemplating this a bit, I believe that the value argument for RPL is that it unlocks leverage. The creation of LEBs increases demand for RPL staking because the minimum RPL increases as the LEB decreases, e.g. 1.6 ETH worth of RPL for LEB 16, 2.4 ETH worth of RPL for LEB 8, 2.8 for LEB4 and so on. It says secondary demand for RPL token is farming, using that term to distinguish it from the ETH staking as node operator or Ether. Speculators like myself can purchase RPL and stake it on the node. Levels far exceed the minimum RPL to earn inflation rewards. And then, he kind of like goes through the debate, what it looks like. It says determine what is better max RPL design. It's essential to remember the prime directive of Rocket Pool to provide a decentralized, permissionless, trustless, liquid staking derivative to the Ethereum community. And he even like puts that in bold right in the middle of his post right there. He says the original tokenomic design was of limiting effective RPL to 150% was to ensure that an individual could not game the system by providing little value to the protocol, i.e. creating unlimited liquid staking capacity to mint the rETH and instead farm only the RPL returns. If we subscribe to the above premise, we can do simple analysis by using the 1000 ETH worth of RPL maximalist, an individual that does not want to run a node but rather wishes to farm the RPL rewards. They will farm, effectively stake as much RPL by investing the smallest amount of ETH needed. The better design is determined by selecting the option that generated the largest amount of rETH capacity in the RPL maximalist scenario. Attached is a breakdown of all three options across the range of LEB types. So let's have a look at this because it's really interesting. So let me actually just make it a bit smaller. So here the three options are: the top one is limited by node operator ETH, the middle one is limited by protocol ETH, and the final one is limited per mini pool. So let's have a look at that now. So LEB16, the RPL maximalist would be able to use their 1000 ETH to bring up 400 ETH of capacity, and that's the same for all three of them because the tokenomics for LEB16s don't change. So now LEB8s, if the RPL maximalist was staking using the node operator ETH method, they would be able to generate 1200 rETH capacity. With protocol ETH, they would be able to generate 528 rETH capacity, and at mini pool, limited per mini pool, that's flat 24, they'd be able to generate 744 rETH capacity for their 1000 ETH worth of collateral. So that would be 250 ETH worth and 750 RPL worth on the, it actually says it right here, right? So they'd be able to do 20 ETH cost per mini pools, 50 mini pools for node operator ETH, 22 mini pools for protocol ETH, and 31 mini pools for the 24 ETH flat. So then on LEB4s, then that becomes 2800 ETH capacity, 588 for protocol, and 980 ETH capacity for the flat 24. So for me, I think like the finding a balance between, like, okay, this is my opinion, so please vote however you want, don't let me sway your opinion, but for me, I will be voting for the 28th ETH flat. And the reason why I think that is the case is because it gives the best balance between the providing security, which I know a lot of people have talked about, that it doesn't really provide that much security above the minimum, but also it balances the farming of RPL, or the staking of RPL, the farming using Ken's language, but also giving the most number of rETH capacity based on how much like you collaterally put into the protocol. So what I'm thinking is that the 24 ETH flat makes the most sense for that, because it kind of balances all those needs together. So yeah, so that discussion was still ongoing, but it seems like we're kind of falling into these camps, which is really great, because that means we can go to vote with those three ideas. So I guess what would happen is the one extreme would be 150% node operator ETH, another extreme would be 150% protocol ETH, and then the compromise position would be 24 ETH flat, which is kind of in the middle of the two, because on the node operator ETH mini pool 8 you'd have 12 ETH, on the protocol ETH you'd have 36 ETH, and then the 24 ETH is kind of in the middle ground, and then it's the same middle ground in the case of LEBs 4s, where it's in the middle ground there as well. So I think it's a really nice compromise position. I'm kind of still torn between voting for the protocol ETH, limited by protocol ETH or limited per mini pool, but it seems like the vote will be set up as a preferential vote. So you vote for the ones that you prefer, and it'll be equal voting approval choice, I think it's called. I don't fully understand the name of it, but it seems like you can vote and keep your weight allowance equal, and then you just say the choices that you want to vote for. And I think that is that should be the good way. That could be a good way to do it. So we're still trying to figure this out. It looks like it's going to go to vote in a couple of days' time, because it'll need to run for a week, and then after a week we'll be able to get it included into Atlas. So it's been a lot of drama, but it looks like we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm really glad to hear that. But hopefully the community can kind of rally around one of these points, and if not, then hopefully we can all come together afterwards and realize that we're all trying to think about it as the best for Rocket Pool, and we're all on the same team. So one of the things that I said as well in the governance channel today was I'm really happy with the way everyone's conducted themselves, even though the debate has been kind of heated at times, and at times there have been people who've been kind of like curt and kind of pointed, but for the most part it's been very civil and very argued in good faith, and I think it's really like endeared me even more to this community. So I'm really glad about that. So this other thing happened overnight as well. So Sleety says, has people seen events? And Bossy says, Marcy WTF. And basically there was a screenshot of this, like it says RPL withdrawal, Marso.eth withdrew 122,987 RPL worth 2011 ETH from that was over collateralized on his node. So his, I think, collateral percentage at the time was like 150+%, and 250+%. So he brought it down to 150%, and I think at the time of that happening, like the debate was still kind of heated, and we weren't sure exactly whether there was going to be any kind of consensus happening or any kind of like a center ground reached or anything like that. So people were just like, what's going on? There's a lot going on tonight, and people were kind of worried with Dukey showing this like worried comment thing. And I said, I didn't mean I'm not trying to FUD or anything like that, but I said if Marcy's what I call Marso, like endearingly, if Marcy sold his RPL, we'd go down to like 0.01 on the ratio. Actually, no, we'd go to 0 because there's not enough liquidity on the downside to eat 2,000 ETH worth of sales. And I said change in tokenomics would mean people who are hoping for LEBs to make their RPL more effective because of the protocol ETH would now have to sell to bring it in line with node operator ETH. I think there's something like 1 million RPL that can be withdrawn currently, maybe a bit less now the ratio has come down a little bit. And then Patches shared this graph that basically says 920,000 RPL are withdrawable. In this image you can see it right in the middle where the blue dot is. And that's after Maso's 100,000 withdrawal, so it was about 1 million RPL that are withdrawable by people who are over collateralized. So it says that might be after Maso withdrew 100,000. I said I've been vacillating between selling my personal excess RPL for new mini pools or waiting for LEB SAS to make it more effective. I've even talked about how difficult that decision has been for a while. Now LEBs aren't going to be what I expected. Well, this was at the time when we thought that it would go towards node operator ETH instead of protocol ETH, or at the time there wasn't even the idea of the compromise position, the 24 flat ETH. Now LEBs aren't going to be what I expected, and SAS is going to be at least 9 months away if each upgrade is on a 6-month cycle. I'm just one lowly minnow though. I want to know what the whales are thinking. So then that kind of like brought up this conversation about like what it means to be over collateralized, and how people should or shouldn't sell that, or how they should take the money off the node because it's technically a hot wallet. So all that kind of stuff. And then we were just talking about how the price can go up and down, and like this change in tokenomics can really impact things like that. But to end it on a funnier note from earlier in the night, Langas, when he was like typing his message, he says Maso wrote a post in meme saying, "My therapist, close your eyes and imagine what anxiety looks like. Describe it to me." And then there's me, and then there's a thing of Langas saying so, and then it just says Langas is typing. So that was quite anxiety inducing for Maso. And then like a few hours later, Kane, who's a developer with Rocket Pool, obviously, he says, "My therapist, close your eyes and imagine what anxiety looks like. Describe it to me." And then me, and then there's a picture of Maso withdrawing 2,000 ETH worth of RPL. So that was kind of funny and scary at the same time. But yeah, on that note, like, I'll give you more of an update of what's happening in the governance stuff tomorrow. It looks like it might go to vote over the weekend, so it might be that I can give you an update about whether that's going to happen or not, either tomorrow or on Monday. So definitely keep an eye open for what's going on, because this is going to be probably one of the biggest votes in the Rocket Pool history since we started voting, so it's gonna be a big deal. So scary stuff and exciting stuff. Next we had this comment so about votes. So Valdorf made this post today. He's saying, "Hey folks, go vote. The GMC membership vote is at 78% quorum, and the pDAO treasurer vote is at 74% quorum." So let's just have a quick look at those votes and see where they stand right now. If we have a look at the GMC membership vote, so we have Joe at number 1 with 488 votes, Kalulduran number 2 with 453 votes, then there's me with 441 votes at number 3, and then Ken, Wander, and Viz make out the top 7. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The Mentor, makes out the top 7 where it stands at the moment. Object has been gaining as well, and Donda Chaka is not too far behind, so we still have another 1,000 votes that need to come in. So that can change, but please go vote, because we really need to reach quorum on this, and the sooner we can reach quorum, the better it is. So we still have another couple of days, like it's up to October 30th that it runs, but on that's Eastern time. We still have a couple of days, so please get voting if you haven't voted already. And then we have the pDAO treasurer selection. This is just between Vaka and Z-Man Forever, and then Vaka is at 87% pretty much, and Z-Man's at 13%. But again, we still need another 1,000 votes here for it to reach quorum. So please go vote if you haven't voted already. Like, it's really important. And there as well, we've got another 3 days in order to vote. So please don't wait too long. Okay. Moving on from there, we've got this really good news today from famous Old Spice, who says, "Just wanted to leave that there. Badger just added a lot of rETH exposure to their treasury." So Badger obviously is a DeFi protocol, and they're working on doing integration stuff. So on that front as well, we got some updates. So here, Freddy the Philosopher came in, and he said the Badger Council approved a 16,000 Badger token bribe, around $56,000, to the new Badger rETH gauge. And that's on Balancer, I think. We would appreciate some consideration from RPL to contribute as co-incentives as well. So then Valdorf was talking to Freddy the Philosopher, and then also famous Old Spice, and they were talking about how Freddy the Philosopher said, "Yes, indeed, $1 million of WETH, Raptor ETH, was turned into rETH because they're so happy with the project." And then they were talking about how they would like the incentives management committee to kind of co-incentivize that liquidity providing for them. And it seems like they're kind of figuring it out, and that's really cool that that's happening. We want as many of these partnerships, integrations, whatever you want to call it, as possible, because it's really cool. I like this comment that famous Old Spice made. He said, "I think Badgers are more DeFi literate than the average crowd, so they'll pick up on it quicker, but that doesn't mean they won't expose themselves to impermanence loss, so it might not be enough to rely on the core community to carry the weight." Another point that speaks against my initial thesis is that on order it takes a week, and he's just like giving information, but like it's really great that they're so well informed and they really know what they want for their communities, and they're able to do that. So that's really great to see. Next, we had these issues with client updates. So Lighthouse have kind of had a little bit of issues. Besu update is coming. Smart Node version 1.7.0 is next week. It says next week, once the feed distributor fix has been deployed, we are planning to release the next major Smart Node update, version 1.7.0. This version has several important changes, one of which will change MEV boost from opt-in to opt-out, meaning it will be enabled by default. If you haven't enabled MEV boost yet because you don't know much about MEV, we strongly recommend you read our guide on it before we release version 1.7.0 next week, so you can make an informed decision on which relays you want to use. And then there's another update. It says quick announcement following onto yesterday's post. So Lighthouse just released version 3.2.1, which is medium priority for all Lighthouse users. And Teku update was earlier in the week, which was recommended. And so go to this post in releases to get information about all the things that Joe's saying. But it's for some of these things, it might make sense to do it soon. Otherwise, you can wait until version 1.7.0 is out next week. Oh, sorry, that's more of that. Next thing is that, I talked yesterday about how the maker thing is going to executive vote. So right now it seems like we have 65,900 maker of approval and across 16 supporters, and we needed additional 27,600 maker votes for this to pass and expire on November 25th. So, we have a month in order to get this done. But as soon as we get the required number of votes, then everything will pass. So if by any chance you're a maker delegate or you have some maker votes, go ahead and vote here. But I think this is just for the executive proposal, so maybe you can't go and vote there. But I think the community is very confident that this is going to pass. So hopefully it'll pass within the next few days, and then we can get maker up and running within the next couple of weeks because of the Oracle stuff. Oh, next we had this comment from Maverick. He said Twitter Space basically is live right now. So the Twitter Space took place yesterday, and it was a special Twitter Space because it had represented a block native coming in there and talking about MEV and block building. And also they gave the biweekly protocol update and Ask Me Anything. So people were asking their questions, people were giving their information, and you can find this on the Rocket Pool Twitter page. But the event happened. It was a really good event. A lot of information was given. So feel free to go and listen to that on Twitter. And finally we have this. I just want to give a little bit of a shout out to Moon's Elliott Waves page, which is kind of trading in a way that the actual trading channel isn't trading. So the actual trading channel is everything but trading, and then people go to Moon's Elliott Waves to talk about actual trading stuff. And Moon is kind of like the resident Elliott Waves expert who gives information and draws out charts and stuff and talks about how they're what they're seeing in the market and patterns and stuff. And there are a bunch of people who are frequent visitors to this channel and or this thread, and they really enjoy some of the information that Moon shares. I don't trade along with it when other people do trade with it, but I really enjoy popping in there and reading what's happening, what people are talking about. One of the problems that we've always had in this channel, however, is that it's really hard to find Moon's detailed posts where he's talking about what he expects to happen in the market. And what we really need is that so here Thomas is saying Stephen Thomas is saying can you refresh us what the green, yellow, red lines mean, the fib levels, right? So this was reference to previous comments that Moon has already made. And Dandachaka says if there was ever a channel where we needed pins, so right now there are no pinned posts in this thread except this one, pin this, so there was it's not easy for anyone in this particular thread to pin anything. However, if this is a plea out there to people who have powers of pinning, if anyone can give Moon the power to pin in this thread, that would be really amazing. But if not, there are a few rocket scientists, and there's even a member of the team, Maverick, who attends who reads this thread. So if any of those people have pinning powers, it would be really great if they could pin those posts for us. But ideally it would, yeah, Dr. Chaka says, sometimes social progress requires putting pressure on the oppressors with the media. So I don't know if the team are oppressors, but I told them that, I definitely talk about this issue because we need help either from the from the mods, basically, like the team or whoever else has those powers. Please give either Moon the power to pin in this thread, or just give rocket scientists the power to pin, because Valdorf, a rocket scientist in the community, is a frequent contributor to this thread as well. So I'm gonna finish there because this has been a really, really long episode. But yeah, it's been a mammoth few days in the community, and things have been really, really busy. But I'm really glad it seems like we're seeing light at the end of the tunnel, and hopefully we can all move forward with this together. But I'm going to end it here. I hope you all have a lovely night or morning, depending on where and when you're listening to this. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.